What's going on, YouTube? My name is William. You're watching Rakish Thoughts. For my second story, this is a property that I own directly. And it's a house that I had renovated a couple of times. But it was in a not so nice area. That area was really, really heavily influenced by drug activity. So at one point there were tons of crackheads around. At one point there were tons of drug dealers around. And at one point it was the most dangerous block in the city of Baltimore. So what happened? The property had been vandalized to the point where I didn't have a kitchen and I didn't have a heating system, but everything else was looking pretty good. So some kind of way, all of the prostitutes and drug addicts and whoever found their way to this property. I'm well known in the neighborhood, and so I start getting calls. They say, "Hey, there's somebody in your house." I said, "Somebody in my house? Who is it? Ain't supposed to be nobody in my house." And at the time, I had somebody staying there, or I had somebody who had just left from staying there maybe 2 months prior. And he would check on the property for me. He said, "Hey man, there's somebody in this house." So I get neighbors. I got a friend of mine. And I even heard about the police coming. All telling me about these people who are squatting in my house. So, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So I don't know who this is. I don't know how they got there. I don't know anything about what they're doing in there yet. But I'm not the type of dude that's gonna be like, "Oh, well, maybe I should get a lawyer or call the police or something." No. No, you're going to meet me, and we're gonna have a conversation. So that's what I did. Drove down to the property with my lady friend, who she was a ride or die that day. She had some weapons. She had a knife and a hammer and was like, "Nah, I got your back. Let's go." So we have no idea what we're walking into, and of course I make her stay outside. But I open the door. Don't make a lot of noise. I don't announce myself, and I definitely don't knock. I open the door, walk right in. I know they're there. The neighbors have just told me that they said, oh, they're here right now. You should come right now. They're here. So yeah, I'm coming on in. No fear. And I walk right into, what appeared to be a smoke session for crackheads, I guess. Or maybe they were shooting heroin. Like, maybe they were doing both. But I walk in, startle them. And I'm not a little fella by any means. So I walk up. There's 3 people inside. There's one lady, 2 guys. Walk up to the bigger guy, look down at him. I say, "What are you doing in here?" "You gotta go." He, oh, I'm so sorry, sir. And that's the response that always happens. There's never any bucking. There's never any, oh nah, you're not, you ain't gonna tell me what to do. That's never been the case. I don't know why. I'm not, knock on wood. Wait, that's not wood. Okay, that'll do. Never been the case. But they say, oh, we're really sorry. We didn't realize this was your place. We're gonna pack up. We're gonna go. And I made them pack their bags, hot-footed on out of there. I locked the door, put all the locks on. I said, well, okay, let me figure out how they got in here. Maybe the back window was unsecured. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they picked the lock because nothing was broken. The windows weren't broken. I couldn't figure out how they had gotten in. So fast forward like 2 hours, 3 hours maybe, and I get a call from the lady across the street. She tells me, they're back in your house. I said, I locked the door. How did they get in? I said, this is going to be interesting. I'm going to go down there. I'm going to drop in on them when they least expect it, because now it's starting to get dark. And I said, I'm going to drop in on them, and I'm going to figure out how they even getting back in here. This is nuts. They keep on coming in. So come down, bust in on them again. And this time, there's nobody downstairs. I said, let me see what's going on. Now, keep in mind, we're on one of the most dangerous, or what was formerly, at this time it had calmed down, but what was formerly one of the most dangerous blocks in Baltimore. It's nighttime. It's dark. There's no electricity in the house. And now I'm by myself, which I insisted. So I walk up the steps because there's nobody downstairs. And I hear a little bit of talking, a little bit of voices coming from the middle bedroom. There's 3 bedrooms upstairs and a bathroom. Coming from the middle bedroom is chatter. I'm standing outside the door. I can hear, but I don't know what they're saying. I can't make out what they're saying. I can't make out what's going on. So I take the door, swing it open. What do I see? There's a gentleman standing there with his pants down and his gentleman's sausage out, and a lady sitting there on the bed, on the edge of the bed, in front of the gentleman, like, and so I don't say anything. I just look at them both. And he said, oh, we're getting out of here. Oh, I'm so sorry. I said, didn't I put y'all out earlier? He said, oh, no, well, we had heard. Oh, we didn't know. Craziness. So, I'm like, this nigga is in here getting his sucked. What? Nigga! So, they pack up all their stuff. Well, they tried to leave a bag. I packed that bag up too and tossed it out onto the front porch. I said, don't forget your shit. Locked the door behind them. I said, this makes 0 sense. How did they get back in here? So I went around to all of the windows on the first floor. Now the second floor is really high up. Like even the first floor windows are probably close to 10 feet up because you got to step up to get to the porch. So they're at least 7 or 8 feet off the ground to the bottom of the windowsill. And I said, well, how are they keeping on getting in here? I don't get it. Screwed all the windows shut on the first floor. I have an electronic lock on the front door, so I said, well, maybe somebody has broken my code. So I changed the code on the front door, and I wait. The next day, I'm getting calls. They back in your house. Oh, they back in your house. So, how are they in the house? I said, this is amazing. I said, these niggas are relentless. Why do they like this house so much? It's like the crack palace. They refuse to let it go. So I get there, and this time nobody's there. They had just left. They're like, man, hey, we're gonna get out of here. I think somebody warned them and said that I was coming, and they tipped on out of there. And so I said, well, okay. Looks like I found how they're entering the house. So some kind of way they're unlocking the windows on the second story. Now how they got up there, now, keep in mind this is a row house. So they could have come from somebody else's house, across the roof, shimmied down the roof, and got onto the little porch roof, and then worked with the windows at the front of the house. I assume that's what they did. But I could tell that the windows at the front of the house had indeed been tampered with. So, said, in all of my ingenuity, that I'll just screw these windows shut too. That'll fix them. So I screw all of the windows shut upstairs. Said, all right, so these fiends here, they're not Houdini. They're not just gonna magically appear in the house. This has got to solve it. So about a day goes by, a lady across the street calls me, Mr. So-and-so, they are in your house again. Said, well, how did they get in? She said, well, you'll never believe this. She said, first of all, there's a guy he's in a wheelchair, and he sat on the steps and lifted the wheelchair up your porch and then wheeled himself right in the front door. I said, how did he get in the front door? She said, oh, well, earlier somebody came along and took the entire front door off of the frame and removed it from the brick and took the whole door off the frame. I said, they took the entire door frame and separated it from the brick to remove the entire door so that they could get back in. So they get in there, and I mean, I don't know, I don't think the guy with the wheelchair did all that, but like, it's crazy. So I went down there again, and it was probably a total of 10 people living in the house. A couple of them prostitutes, most of them drug addicts. I assume the prostitutes were also drug addicts. Anyway, I had to come in, be Mr. Rough and Tough yet again, force everybody out. And mind you, when I showed up, I didn't show up like, have a couple of provisos and maybe No, I come in like, okay, y'all ready to battle or what? And it just so happens that the response is, no, sir, we're going to get our stuff and leave. We do not wish to battle. Okay, you want to get your stuff and leave? Get your stuff and leave. I'm cool with that. Don't come back. So now we got beef because they keep coming back. So now I got to make my presence felt a little bit more. But, of course, as soon as I get there this time, they're hustling out of there. Now, what to do? What to do? So I said, okay, I'm gonna bolt the front door more securely into the brick. That'll solve it. So now they're not gonna be able to easily remove the door from the frame, and also, you know, if they can't get inside, they can't get an edge. So there's this thing called brick mold, which is really just wood that you can peel off with great effort to get to where the screws and bolts that hold the front door and tie it into the rest of the house, which is brick or wood or whatever. There's a way you can get to it, but it is laborious, to say the least. So anyway, I got it all bolted up now. Got the front door double locked. And of course, a lady across the street, her Ring camera's pointed straight at my door. And so I said, there's no way that they're coming back in here. Next day, would you like to guess what happened? I get a call. Hey, mister, they're back. Back how? Oh, this time they went old school. They just bust your windows out. So, okay. I mean, I knew this would happen. And, you know, however they were getting in before, they did not bust any windows. They didn't. They were coming in clean. But at this point, they just said, F it all. We getting in here and he's not gonna stop us. So they bust the window, and I said, all right, well, now you're costing me money. A lot more money. Now, mind you, this property was sitting because it was next on my list to renovate, and this is during the pandemic. So, you know, we're sitting tight, we're not moving around, and, you know, it's on the list. So, yes, it's vacant, but not for any extravagant reason. So here we are again. I show up, and this time I'm ready to put hands on them. So they're running out. They got no choice but to run out the front door. The basement has always remained secure. The back door has always remained secure. It's been screwed shut. The only way in and out at this point was through the broken window. So I come back in, say, man, they are just relentless. And, you know, they have got to be dealt with. So, let me show you what I did. So, I made a very unappealing wire mesh, wood, and screw kind of medley with false backs so that you couldn't feel where the pressure is. You can't quite get an idea of how far in you have to push There's broken glass and all kinds of stuff mixed in there. So when you try to get through it, you're just going to hurt yourself. And when I put that over both of the windows, you'll notice that both of the windows in the front of the house have that wire over it. They have boards over them. They had only broken this one. And I just made it a very unappealing situation for them to try to get out of. There's screws in it from both directions, so you're not going to be able to just unscrew it and get out or get it out of there. You're not going to be able to do anything easily. It's going to take a lot of effort. Like, you're not getting in that window in less than, say, 15 minutes. So, that finally solved it. After I did that to the window, put my little wire and glass trap in, no more break-ins, no more squatters. They were gone. But that was the worst situation that I had with squatters, because these people just refused to leave. It was some sort of cracky palace, because they had told all their friends there was at least 10 people there, and maybe one or two would have left, but the others just like, oh yeah, oh he said he gonna do what? I like to see it. But they were trying me. Anyway, shortly thereafter, I sold that property, and problem solved. But that is the story of the Relentless squatters. So, 2 squatting stories. Oh, I forgot. The first squatting story. When I went to do repairs at that house, this is not even in a really bad neighborhood. I'm parked across the street because there's no parking on the same side of the street as where this property is. And I'm like getting some tools out of the truck or out of the car. I don't know what I was driving. What was I driving? Oh, yeah. Okay. Out of the truck. And I said, okay, I'm going to go and gonna grab my tools and get started making these repairs. I was probably doing something simple at the time. But I get my tools out of the car and I'm walking across the street, and I'm in the middle of the street and I hear bang, 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 bang. Shots. It's shots, baby. And I'm in the middle of the street. This is not the only time that's happened to me. So, pop quiz. You're walking across the street, fairly large street. You're directly in the middle. Pardon me, I am parched. Cover that label up. I ain't got no sponsorship. Okay, now where was I? So yeah, pop quiz. You're in the middle of the street, hands full of tools and equipment that you need, and shots ring out. What do you do? What do you do? So, I'll make it easy on you. Nothing. I couldn't duck and cover and go in either direction reliably because I'm too far away from where I was going, too far away from where I came from. The people that are shooting are right at the end of the block. And I'm just in the middle of the street, like, yeah, make sure you aim that thing right. So, there's a hail of bullets. There's a fella laid out. He did not die. But, that's a gut check for you right there. You think you a tough guy? Be in the middle of that street when all them shots are headed for you. Are you still tough? I think I held up pretty well because I was like, as always, I got more mad than scared. Like, how dare you just shoot near me? Next time you need to pay more attention. But anyway, none of the bullets hit me. Isn't that a crazy situation? Please subscribe, hit the like button, because I'm new, I barely know what to do. I'd like some subscribers. I'd like to be like on the poor man's podcast. I tell you that fella, every time he set a goal, he just knocked it right out the park. I seen he had 40,000 subscribers. He said, our next goal is going to be 60,000. We want to hit 60,000 by February. It's mid-January. He's at 65. I said, this nigga, he is doing it. Anyhow, good job. I'd like some subscribers too. Hey, maybe that can be you. Till next time, peace.